Hey guys, welcome to the main cut. I am your host Jade, and I have my co-host here, Katanda.
And I am head of education and community.
And yeah, today we're going to talk about another interesting topic about judgment and hair. This one comes up a lot as well. So when we say judgment, this time we mean when people make assumptions and judge people based on the way that their hair looks at the time when they see them. And that can be for a lot of different reasons, whether it be like the length of their hair, or whether they're natural, they're wearing their hair straight, or their race. So it's something that we think affects a lot of people. Also something that I'm not sure, I guess people do talk about it. A lot of questions are kind of asked, and people having conversations in friendship groups more so than I think out in the open. But I think it would be good to start. It's always good to start these things with personal stories. So Katanda, is there any time that you've personally had an experience where you felt judged because of your hair?
This topic is near and dear to my heart. I have always, ever since I can remember, gotten judged for my hair. As a little girl, as a preteen, as a teenager, in high school, and even as an adult. So I don't know if I'll go all the way back. That might be a session for my therapist, actually. So I won't dump that on you guys here or dump that on you, Jade. However, you know a little bit of that. But I'll start with just sharing one of my experiences when I was working for the brand, The Main Choice. And I had pretty much, I started working with them after they were acquired. And so the founder was no longer part of the day-to-day. And so they sort of pushed me out there as like the face of the brand. I was my title there was brand educator. So I sort of became like the face of the brand. I would do, create content based on education, surrounding education. I would do hair tutorials. I would, write copy for the captions on social media and things like that. So I was pretty much face forward on social media with The Main Choice. And we were showcasing one of the collections, and I was doing a style. And in the comments section, someone said something to the tune of, "Oh yeah, mixed girl hair." And so I was responsible also for pretty much doing community management when it came to addressing concerns or issues, or a lot of times crisis management, or just answering questions based on products, product knowledge, or how to use the product, which product is best for me. So questions like that, I was pretty much responsible for doing the community management of. And so in this particular post, I would sort of like, the social team would make the post, and then I would hop in just to hang around to answer the questions and things like that. So when I came across that comment, it's not really a question, it was like a comment, like a very bold statement comment. I had to respond. First of all, because it was a trigger. Second of all, because we cannot judge people based on their hair texture. Like, we are so beyond that. There's so many hair textures that we have as a community, as Black people, as Black hair. Our textures are like endless, limitless, because no two textures are the same. No two curls are the same. No two textures are the same. And so it really triggered me based on, taking me back to my childhood, the things that people used to say about my hair, or like the other Black girls didn't like me because of my hair, because my hair was long and it was this and so on and so forth. So as the educator, I had to think of an educated guess, or not an educated guess, but I had to think of an educated response to that consumer, because we don't want people judging based on hair textures. Because first of all, I'm not mixed. We're all mixed. However, I'm not mixed. It's way down that line that we don't even want to go to. Okay. So that was my thing. Both of my parents are Black. All of my grandparents, great grandparents, great grandparents, they're all Black. So I'm not a mixed girl as we, tend to perceive mixed girls. I'm not biracial or any of that. However, my curl pattern is a little looser in comparison to some of my other Black girls. And so she just assumed by the hair texture, by the curl pattern, that I was a mixed girl. And she specifically said mixed girl hair, and I'm not. So I jumped in. Obviously, I curated a very educated response, very, very informative. It was not, the tone was more from an educational point of view, but I had to let her know and just sort of like sort of school her in the comment section. And at a certain point, your characters, you don't have any more characters left. And you guys know I could be long-winded. So I was going and I was typing and, takes me to my writer side. But I ended up responding, and I wish I had looked up the response to her, because I would have shared it with you guys, because that could possibly have brought some, light to this, and actually could probably help a lot of people that are listening, here. But Jade, I probably gave you like the not so educated response. I gave you the response from my inner me and not the professional me. We do that far too often, even now majority of people are natural hair nowadays. We don't have a huge percentage of people that are still relaxing their hair. So are we still like judging people on their curl pattern, their curl types, even after Andre Walker gave y'all the curl pattern system, the Andre Walker system? It's to help you break it down, and it doesn't say 3A mixed girl hair. It says 3A. It doesn't say 4C super Black girl hair. It says 4C. So that is sort of like, I feel it was sort of kind of like take the noise surrounding that and to inform everyone that are various and several different types of hair, but he put that in place to sort of help you as individuals identify your own hair. And so I don't know, this is a topic that I could go on and on with, but it's something that needs to stop, because there are actual non-Black people that have hair that is curlier than mine, and vice versa. So I just don't like the whole judgment based on your hair and what it looks like. And then that can get into other things, like when your hair looks unkempt because it's a certain curl pattern, or it goes on and on. But have you had any experiences, like personal experiences with this, Jade?
You know what? I haven't had not quite the same as yours. It was very different. Actually happened. It also happened at work, but with somebody that I worked with closely, and it wasn't. Let me explain what happened versus trying to explain their intention. But it was when I stopped relaxing my hair. So it was kind of like at the very beginning-ish. So I'd have my hair in braids for maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, and then I'd take it out, have my natural hair out, give it a break for maybe 2 weeks. And then I would go into work with I would just have like a mini afro. Because at that time my hair was still growing out, so it wasn't like super long. And I didn't do a big chop, but my hair, when I'd relaxed my hair, I'd cut it short. So it wasn't super long at the time, because it was still like almost like a pixie cut, but short. So so I'd gone in with my afro, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but we ended up talking about wash days with some of the people in the office, and I was like, well, mine is literally a wash day. Like, I don't, it's, for some people, it's like an hour and they're done. But no, for me, it's a whole thing. I've got to take the braids out, and then I've got to, get my hair ready. Then I have to shower and wash my hair and deep condition it, probably leave it out for a little bit. And yeah, so I was just explaining to them what an actual wash day looks like for me, because it's completely different. And somebody said, oh, does it, I can't remember her exact words, but it was along the lines of like, oh, that's a lot. Do you sometimes wish that you just had like normal hair? And it didn't come from a bad place. It was just, somebody else's normal is straight, but my normal is afro hair. So why would I wish for my hair to be different just because the process is different? And again, it was, but it wasn't like a malicious thing. I think, when somebody just says something that comes to the top of their head, that doesn't make it right. But I do think it's when people make mistakes, I do believe give some people a bit of grace and just talk to them about it. Versus there's a time and a place for kind of like cracking a whip and putting somebody in their place. And there's a time and a place to be like, oh, you know what? I know you didn't mean it in that way, but all hair is normal. So just be mindful when you say things like that. So it wasn't like an experience that was so bad that it made me feel away. It was more of a, you just said something unnecessary.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna have to correct it. So it was one of those, but I think there's a lot of assumptions that I think that people make about a person because of their hair. Like for you, somebody made a whole assumption about your race.
Yeah.
And for me, somebody made an assumption about whether I actually liked my hair or not, whether I wished it was different. Which I don't. Like, I actually don't mind wash days when I actually have a whole day, because then I just take my time. It's not that I dislike it. It's just I need to have the time to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't see it as a headache. But I feel that there's a lot of, it's not just a judgment. Judgment often comes with assumptions, because if people had the facts, they probably wouldn't say the things that they're saying.
Yeah. So there's a couple, like you were saying, a couple of ways that you may be approached about your hair, or, various ways that people comment on our hair. However, in my experience, the girl in the comments, she was being extremely judgmental. Do I think she was being malicious? No, I don't. However, extremely judgmental and making an assumption based on how she perceived my hair to look. As you said, she totally had, I guess, her assumption on my race, which was very incorrect. I've also worked, just doing what I do. I've had, instances where we're evaluating someone's hair when we're onboarding them into the testing process, and we have to identify their hair type, their hair condition, their hair color, the natural level versus, if they have actual hair color or not, the length of their hair, the density of the hair. So we go through this whole evaluation on the hair. And this is actually a coworker. They would always categorize Black girls' hair as kinky. And so, before we start any test, we have to go through and, there's certain things that we have to store in the data before we start and administer the test. And so when this is in their actual profile, I'm looking at the person and thinking, maybe I have the wrong profile pulled up, but I'm looking at the person. It matches the face in the picture and it matches the name. And after it, happening repeatedly, I had to go to the coworker and say, hey. And I feel like sometimes, again, it's a perception and it's perceived that all Black people have kinky hair. First of all, I don't even like the word kinky, because kinky is not a texture. There's nowhere in cosmetology school, in the books of cosmetology, you will find kinky as a texture. So that's another reason why I tend to refer to hair textures and patterns and hair types and from the technical point of view as a licensed cosmetologist,
Yeah.
rather than, oh, her hair is kinky, oh, her hair is coily. But I know that's how brands communicate to the consumers because they have to identify in some way.
Yeah.
For me, curls are curls.
Mm.
Curls are the opposite of straight. Now, there are various different types of curls, but it's not straight. And then there's a wave where it's partially straight and partially, it's right in the middle of straight and curly.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is one of those things that people misinterpret or misjudge. And it's been, even with, like, this person is super professional, super knowledgeable, an amazing stylist. However, it's just, I think, something that was instilled in his mind or his head from society. So I had to do the same thing, is sort of like explain to him that, hey, that's not the case. Let me explain to you why her hair wouldn't be considered kinky. And then we had to sort of like incorporate the whole Andre Walker system into our identification of hair typing because of this, so that they had a clear view, a clear picture of the different curl patterns and curl types. So that was really helpful. I didn't take offense to it. I just kept saying, what? Who's kinky? Like, is it me or am I reading things wrong? And so I had to really like get to the bottom line, because different products work differently, as we know, on different hair types. And so we needed to make sure that we had them scheduled in specifically as they were.
Yeah.
I have had so many experiences when I used to wear my hair straight, and you guys, that's going to be a different topic that Jade and I are going to touch at a later time. However, I used to wear my hair straight all the time, and my hair was super sleek. It's the total opposite of this. It was super sleek and super long. Like, my hair didn't revert. My hair, like, so they would always think that I had a relaxer, for one, and no, I never had a relaxer. They would also think that I was wearing tracks or weave. And this is like back when, like, everyone's doing it now, and it's out in the forefront. No one's hiding that they're wearing wigs. No one's, trying to conceal that they're wearing, bundles. But back then it wasn't. So it was sort of one of those things where you were in the closet about your hair weave. And so I would always get that. And one of these experiences that I would like to share, and, sort of like, just to give you guys an idea of how this should not be happening, and how it just really doesn't make sense. When I was working for Mac, I would, my hair would be straight, Mac girls, music going. And so we're bouncing around the counter, and we have all these people lined up to get all their, products. And I was never a person, when I wear my hair straight, I don't like my hair to look greasy, feel greasy. I don't like for it to stick together. I like individualized strands.
Yeah.
So I like the flow of the hair. I like the movement of the hair. Give me a Beyonce fan all day when my hair is straight. I want the movement. And so I'd be, just doing my job around the counter, but my hair is bouncing and flowing and flipping and doing all this. And the girls used to have conversations about my hair at the counter.
Oh, wow.
And they'd be like, that is not her hair. It is way too straight, way too sleek. And look, it's so long. And look how it moves. It doesn't even move like it's real. And they would have full-on conversation at this Mac counter about my hair. Wow. And my coworkers, they would just be cracking up because they knew it was my actual hair.
Oh, so these were the customers having conversations.
The customers having side conversations as I'm running to get their clear lip gloss and their chestnut liner. They're having conversations about my hair not being real and how I have a relaxed, just on and on. And so I would flip my hair intentionally then and run my fingers through from the scalp, and just to let them know, like, y'all are really tripping. Like, this is my hair. And why does it matter if it's my hair or not? Like, who cares? And so it got to a point where, again, triggers, because my childhood. And I would have to sometimes just say something, depending on the day, depending on what was actually being said. I would have to like let them know, like, hey, you guys, this is my hair. And then that's when I would use my professionalism to the advantage. I am a professional hairstylist. This is why
Mhm.
my hair looks amazing every time you guys come. You should come visit me in the salon and you too can have this hair,
Mm.
whether if you have a relaxer or not. And so once I would have the conversation with them, they would be like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But it changes the trajectory of their conversation. Like,
Mm.
I think it's okay to ask questions about someone's hair, but to like assume and sit back and insinuate that this person is wearing a wig. If you don't know, you should just ask. And I think it's more rude, especially to have these sidebar conversations where I could actually hear, because we used to
Mm.
have the music loud. So they would have to talk really loud. Because you
Ah.
go to Mac and the music, you listen to the good music and all that. It's like a makeup party. And so
Mm.
they would have to like speak really loudly and I could hear them. And I mean, I could only go so long without actually saying something like, hey, you guys, my hair is real. Like, and so once that would happen, it would bring them like, oh my gosh. And so a lot of times I would get a lot of clients from the Mac counter based on how my hair looked and from them having those conversations, because every single time they would come, my hair would be on point. And so I think that's another reason why they thought it was not my hair, because how could your natural hair possibly be on point every single time? Well, because I'm a hairstylist and I'm
Yeah.
here to sell you guys things. So I need to look my absolute best so you can buy like this 17-piece makeup look that I just put on you.
Yeah. No, I feel like there's so many different problems. It's it's like, where do we start? There's like the issue with assumptions about people's race,
Yeah.
or like say assumptions about whether they do or don't like their hair, but also why, even if you had been wearing a wig, even if it was weave, even if your hair had been relaxed, why did it need to be a negative conversation? Why couldn't it have just been, her hair looks really good, I wonder what she's done to it? It's like, that's what I really struggle with. It's not so even so much that they've noticed, because if you look good, people are going to notice, right? But
Yes.
why couldn't it have been a nice conversation that was more out of curiosity than
So,
wanting to like tear somebody down?
yeah.
It feels like there's still so much of that. And and if that's an issue that's coming from customers, and that's like coming from people who have textured hair, that's coming from
Yeah.
people that have curly, I know you said like
Yeah.
curly coily hair. So if we can't be kind to each other, how can we expect that kindness? How can we expect that effort from the likes of like people and brands if we're
Exactly.
already internalizing that within our own
Yeah.
community?
Yeah.
We need to kind of cut, as much as other like brands need to make an effort, as
Mhm.
much as people need to make an effort, also internally our community needs to make an effort to treat each other well.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting that you said that the story about the product company where somebody was like miscategorizing people,
Yeah.
because I wonder if that happens more often in other product companies, and that might
Yeah.
be why certain products do and don't work with our hair type,
Yeah.
because there's somebody in there that's categorizing like
Yeah.
every black and mixed race person that they see as kinky, when they could
Yeah.
have like a range of different hair types that are coming through the door.
Yeah.
So is that miscategorization happening in lots of
Mhm.
other product companies that we just don't know about? And maybe the intention is to make products that actually
Mhm.
help different hair types, but the
Mhm.
reality is, because people aren't categorizing the testers properly, that's not happening.
Yeah. I believe that it does happen, because if it happened to me, there, it's happening in other companies in this sort of product development, product testing process as well. I think that that's another thing. We don't have enough representation on
Mm.
these teams that are developing these products.
Mm.
And we are learning more about the Black girl cosmetic scientists. that are out here. There's an actual group, and I can't think of their name on Instagram, but it's a group, a full group, like a full page dedicated to Black women cosmetic scientists. And there's so many out there now that and I guess it's more open, like out in the open, because of all of the development of these new brands and things like that. But I think we're not represented enough on those teams. We're not represented enough on the marketing teams. Definitely just in any aspect or any area. I was actually the only on my like actual team at that particular company. I was the only Black person, let alone the only Black woman at that on that particular team.
Right.
And so I always had to make a stand when it came to us testing our like products for our hair types, because obviously I was the most passionate about that. Well, I'm passionate about all hair types, but I was the one individual that was passionate about that category. It was sort of not really important, or like an afterthought, or I feel like there was more enthusiasm when we were testing other brands and other product types. And so, and they knew that I was super passionate about it. My boss, she always, she actually empowered me, because she would come to me, like if I had a day off or I wasn't there when they were testing something in particular, she would actually reach out to me and say, hey, Katanda, we need your opinion on this, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And so she did empower me, and she did appreciate, and sort of, I don't want to say appreciate. She appreciated me, but she looked to me as a thought leader in that particular hair category. Like, she was the final approver, but if I said and everyone else said something different, she would come to me specifically and say, what we need to know, or I want to know why you think differently, because this is what the other data showing from the other technicians, this is what they've said. And so I just know there's not enough representation. So that's one thing that's going on with these hair, companies that are making products for multicultural hair care. Also, I think something perceived is that it doesn't have to be hard. It's not hard. Like chemicals, raw materials, natural materials, they're all the same regardless of who you're going to put it on. Like you just, have to focus more on the nuances of certain hair types to ensure that those products are actually working. So you may need a little bit more glycerin for someone that has curlier hair types, because you need the slip and you need the spreadability. But if you don't have someone in place that actually knows that, then this is where we have these challenges. I think too, also we're getting a lot of, well, not a lot, but we're getting some companies and some, brands out here that are marketing to, hey, we're for all hair types. And I get why, because it's been so segregated for so long. And when the grand scheme of things, all hair is made up of the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's straight. It doesn't matter if it's curly. The only thing that determines the shape of the hair, the structure of the hair, is what's happening in the follicle. It doesn't have anything to do with the makeup of this actual hair. So I think that if we had more of that, it would help us as individuals not judge someone else's hair. For someone to say, oh my gosh, I'm dreading wash day, it hurts me to my core, because when I have wash day, like I need wash day now, but there's a thing. When I need wash day, my hair looks amazing like this. The shape's on point, it's big, it's voluminous. When I don't need wash day, for me, is just too, perfect. Anyway, I need wash day. But I feel amazing leading up to wash day and after wash day, because a clean scalp is so invigorating. It sort of like clears your head. I mean, your hair follicles are really close to the brain. So I think I think when you shampoo and cleanse your scalp properly, it does something, I don't know, to the brain. That's the study that maybe I need to do because it is so close. I just feel like my head is more clear when I have a clean scalp. My mind, I feel invigorated. I feel, you know, super clean. And I just think that it's we've been traumatized for many reasons and starting many years ago surrounding our hair, that we carry that with us. And in actuality, do you really dread shampooing your hair, or is it because you've been told that it should be dreadful because it takes too long, or it's a challenge, or
Yeah.
it is a problem? It's not a problem to shampoo your hair. Like, hair is not a problem.
No,
It's
but
you
also
that makes the hair the problem.
I think it's also that people aren't taught how to do things properly. Like there's a group of trichologists that I know that I speak of, or speak to, sorry, and sometimes they do like consultations and they do like Q&As and live demos, and we were talking about doing an event together, and they were like, oh, we could do like a demo of how people should properly wash their hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, do people need that? And they were like, you'd be surprised the number of people that don't know how to wash their hair properly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a lack of knowledge that makes it difficult for people. It's not that the thing itself is difficult, it's just they don't know what they don't know. But I think there's also on I say trauma or on misinformation, there are a lot of people that have had influence. Like, I don't want to stick all hair influencers in one bucket, because some of them are amazing and have gone on to do incredible things like start product ranges of their own, and become qualified stylists because they love hair so much. But I think there's been a lot of issue with like miscategorization. So, when people look things up on YouTube, now everybody has like multiple hair types in their head, but if they assumed, okay, the majority of my hair is, say, 4C, and they look for like hairstyle, like 4C hairstyles or something like that, they look that up on YouTube or on Google, and they've got somebody with like loose curls giving them a tutorial.
That was me on the Main Choice social media page.
But I think like those things, that's also what causes people to, again, make assumptions in some ways. It's like almost somebody's been traumatized and they're passing it on to somebody else, which is, I've been looking for advice on my hair for so long, and when I keep looking for like advice around my hair type, I keep getting people that don't have hair like mine at all telling me that this is how you can style your hair and it doesn't work. And then they make a bag of assumptions about somebody else that they don't know because of that. And that doesn't make it right. But I do think that there's like layers to this that cause people to make these assumptions. And it's like, how do we navigate it, and how do we stop it from happening?
So, man, this is a great topic. I feel like, so this is the thing where people get their, like, what is your source of asking, how should I manage my hair? Is it a professional hairstylist? Is it a professional hairstylist that actually has experience and an expertise in curlier hair types, or in specifically your hair type? Is it someone that has experience in the business, like not just out of beauty school, but maybe they've had experience working with so many different hair types over the years, they could actually advise you properly? Because it's not really hard. There's really nothing different that you have to do. You have to cleanse your scalp and your hair. You have to make sure it's properly hydrated and moisturized. And you have to make sure that you're not over manipulating or doing things that are going to cause damage. Like, it's really simple. But if you are not savvy with your hair, then you do want to seek someone that has the expertise. There's a time and there's a place for scrolling on social media, going to YouTube University to get, something done. I mean, I go there to figure out how to do something with my laptop because I'm not technically savvy. But I feel like that's, when it comes to hair, there's so much that you can't get just happenstance upon someone on YouTube University that's going to be able to advise you properly. And there are some actual influencer hairstylists that are out there that you can go to. But otherwise, it's just individuals like yourself that are just working. They've learned how to master styling their own hair. So, of course, they would misadvise you on your hair because they've never had their hands in your hair. They're not actual stylists. So I think that makes that's very important, which is why we have main hookup, right? The first place is for you to find actual stylists that can help, bring solutions to your hair concerns. Also, I feel like people sort of don't understand that all hair types, whether it's straight, curly, wavy, short, long, they all have hair concerns. There's no one person that you could I've never met, and I've met and worked with a lot of people and their hair. And no one's ever sat in my chair and said, "Oh my gosh, Katana, my hair is perfect." I don't even say that about my hair. No one thinks they have perfect hair. Like, they learn to work what they have to enhance their natural. And so being so sold on, oh, because your hair is curlier in texture, you have all these issues and concerns and it's dreadful. That's not absolutely true. The people actually make it dreadful. And speaking to, like, we're doing a lot with our hair as far as Black women, switching it up, different styles. We can look like a different person in a matter of a few hours if we switch our hair up. And I feel like those of other races, they don't understand because pretty much they don't have the versatility that we have in our hair. And so that's the other thing. I think we need to focus more on embracing our hair, our natural texture that we have that grows out of our scalp. And we need to embrace just having this beautiful head of hair, because the versatility that we have is, no one else has the versatility that we do. Yeah. We can wear it straight. We can wear it curly. We can wear it big like a fro. We can define our curls and it looks nice and neat and perfect. We can, like, there's so many things we can do with our hair. And I just think it really, it makes me sad a lot of times that a lot of people are still struggling with their hair texture, their own natural hair texture, and they're wanting something different for whatever reason because they think it's easier. We'll take the time. We have to take our time to learn a lot of things. We have to take our time to learn what we do day to day in our career. We have to take the time to, if we're cooking, we had to take time to learn how to cook. So we have to take the time to learn how to manage and love on our hair, because if we do, our hair will love us.
Yeah. And I think, where there's so many things that you can unpick here, but I think a lot of that again comes from you lean into what you know, and often what you know comes from the things that you were taught, and what you were taught about your hair often comes from what happens when you're a kid, so I distinctly remember, and I hated having my hair done, but because I associated it with pain, because it was always painful.
Oh God.
And it wasn't, and also I have, no one can see it now because I'm in braids, but it was my hair is like really dense, like very thick. My hair is the type of hair that can break combs if you're not using the right comb. And that's the thing, when you've got hair that's big and dense and thick, it's like really, really, really tight curls. And all I remember was when I needed to get my hair combed, I'd be sitting in between my nan would do my hair because my mom that wasn't her thing. She is a teacher, so her thing was education. She would teach me many, many things, but doing my hair was not her thing. That was my nan's thing. And I'd be like sitting in between like my nan's legs, she'd be combing my hair, and every time I flinch, I just get like a tap on the head. And I'd be like, but it's painful. She's like, stop moving. And it was always, even when I got my hair braided, I used to be so tender-headed I would cry, and it was, so I think one of the reasons I ended up relaxing my hair is I was like, I don't want to deal with that, actually. If I can have my hair straight, it was partly curiosity, partly I was like, oh, what will straight hair suit me? Will I prefer it? Will it look better? Partly curiosity and partly like trying to escape pain. And I think a lot of that comes down to what we're taught. And then again, like, people make these comments, make these statements, make these assumptions because of what they know. Because if they knew differently, often they wouldn't say those things. So a lot of it, I feel like at the stem of a lot of these problems is a mix of education, being kinder to each other and being kinder to ourselves.
Yeah, it's so speaking of that, I had an aunt, and when she was in charge of combing our hair, everybody was running. We all were. It's because she was just, and I don't even know if people use this term now, but she was heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter how curly or how not curly your hair was, you were going to be in pain. Like, she literally used to brush not our hairline, but our face before the hairline.
Oh,
it's like you would get your hair done and you would have red, your face would be red all around because she's, and I mean, I just still to this day don't understand why she felt she needed to comb hair that way. Like, ma'am, it does not require all of that. And so my cousin, her son, it was a boy. He is biracial. And he did have very loose curls. He had blonde hair and very loose curls. Oh. She used to comb his hair the same way she combed mine. He would cry. Oh. I wouldn't cry, but I would be on the floor trying to get away from her and that brush. And she just combed hair that way. So I think too, we don't have patience with our hair. If you have a tangle or not, you don't just rake through it. Like, you start at the bottom and work your way up. It's like a fine tuning sort of thing. And not many people have patience with hair. That's one of the things me as a hairstylist, I pride myself on, is because all of my clients will tell you I am very gentle. You do not have to kill someone to do what you need to do to style their hair. And I actually, it's so, I guess you build up an immunity to it at a certain point. You never did. You are still remain tender-headed. But you sort of like build up an immunity to it, because I have had plenty of clients say, oh, you can comb it harder. No, I can't. It doesn't work. I'm tough.
It's no,
not
supposed to hurt.
I don't have to comb it hard, and you don't have to hurt. It's okay, and it'll still look amazing and beautiful. Okay. There's actually a documentary out called "Pretty Shouldn't Hurt." It's a documentary that they did with a bunch of Black women and hairstylists. Actually, Derek is on that documentary. Oh, and so it's a whole documentary on it, because surrounding hair, getting your hair combed and how it hurts. And they're trying to explain to people it does not have to hurt. And that's just me my whole career. Like, I don't want to sit in someone's chair and they're hurting me. I'm not going to hurt you. Like, to me, that's like, I feel like that's abuse, because it just doesn't make sense to me. However, if you don't have the proper technique, that could cause, some pain. That could cause, it's something that you have to learn, is how to actually comb through. And that's even straight hair. There are little girls that have bone straight hair naturally, and they are terrified to get their hair combed. Is because the comber, I made up a new word here. The comber does not know how to comb their hair. Like, it's all in the hands of who's behind the comb and the brush of your hair. Yeah. So that goes, like, judging the hair. It's just something that needs to stop, guys. I don't know if Jade and I could put a stop to it. We're only two advocates here. But as far as me and my interaction with my clients and things, I educate them in a way so that they don't have to feel like they need to judge someone's hair. Or if they're being judged, they can have, a conversation with whomever the person is judging them, to sort of like, you did. It's not that I wish I had something else. I just dedicate time for my hair. And that's the misperception too, is just because we wear weaves and we wear braids and we wear, bundles of hair that are a different texture than ours does not mean we hate our own hair. However, some people may, but that's not everyone. I feel like it's a very small percentage. We just like the versatility, the convenience of it, and that's it. Like we like to switch it up. We've always been stylish people and we create trends and styles, and so this is what we do. It's not that we hate it at all. So
Yeah, that's also, I think, two things we haven't really mentioned that I think come a lot with judgment is length
yes,
and length, and basically the way that you wear your hair, whether it's natural, straight, and straight can be many things, whether it's relaxed, you've got weave, a wig. But I think natural hair versus straight hair, there's a lot of assumptions there. And also, like I said, the length of hair. So if somebody has got, say, super, super short hair, a load of assumptions on, oh, their hair doesn't grow, or, oh, they don't know how to look after their hair properly because it doesn't, it doesn't grow out. Or it could just be that they cut their hair short because they can't be asked. I went through that stage. I went through a stage of having my hair really short because I was like, I don't want to have to deal with it. I want to be able to get up, deal with my hair in 10, 15 minutes max and be out the door. That was when I was at uni and I was studying. So there were many other things that I needed to do beyond my hair that were really important. And passing my degree was more important to me than spending an hour on my hair every morning. So I have my hair super short then. And I think length as well. And length can be like a negative judgment, even though it's something a lot of people aspire to have. I feel like there's this constant conflict between, okay, there's nothing wrong with wanting your hair to be longer. If you aspire for your hair to be healthy, it will naturally start growing more, or you'll be able to retain the length because it's always growing. And then there's like this negativity towards people whose hair is already really long. Which I find it's like a really weird thing where there's this, for whatever reason, people just aren't kind sometimes to other people who have something that they don't have. Or that they aspire to have. And I've never quite understood that, because I'm like, if their hair is in a condition that you, kind of like when you were behind the counter, right? If their hair is doing things and looking away and you would like your hair to look the same, ask what products they use, ask what their routine is, like ask some questions out of curiosity, but don't mistreat
who
them.
their stylist is.
Ask them who their stylist is. Or ask them if they are a stylist. You might be lucky and you might have found yours. But there's so many things that you can do before you choose to say something mean or hurtful or unkind. And also in a world where it's very easy to do things on the internet and not be held accountable. Like, as much as you can have a comment or somebody can respond to your comment, that's not somebody dealing with you face to face. Those are two very different things and make people feel very differently. Like the comment that somebody left on the Main Choices social profile, I highly doubt they would have said that to your face.
I highly doubt they would.
Like, but it's things like that. Like, why is it that there's this, because there's that distance, because the internet creates that distance, you see like an unhealthy amount of that online, to the point that people will take. I have seen people, there was a stylist that I can't remember his name, but if I find his name I'll post it in the newsletter version. But he's a white guy and focuses predominantly on curly, coily hair, getting a ton of,
is it the Curl Doctor?
No, I can't remember. I'll find. He's British.
Oh, okay.
So he's not American, but he was getting like a ton of really negative comments and like online hate when he started to focus on curly hair, and I was like, but.
And I hate that.
And this is what I mean. It's this. I mean, again, the internet is a gift and a curse. It's a gift. You guys have discovered the podcast on it. I consider that a great thing. But
Yeah,
it's also people feel that distance and feel quite comfortable with saying things and being keyboard warriors and saying things in a way that they wouldn't say to someone's face,
yeah,
and there's a lot of judgment in different areas of the hair industry because of that. But I feel that a lot of this also happens. It happens online in mass. It still
yeah.
happens with people face to face, but I think it
More
happens
so.
more so on social platforms and things like that. So yeah, I think then the lesson that I take is, or the thought actually, and people who are listening can like please comment with your experiences and your thoughts as well, is
Yeah.
what will it take for people to be kinder to each other and be more curious
Yes.
instead of being judgmental? What will it take to encourage more of, oh, how did you do that? How did you
Yeah.
get your hair like that?
Yeah. Just
Who's
ask
just
the
like, what will
question.
it take to encourage more curiosity versus judgment?
Yeah. I agree. Even me being a hairstylist, but also a person that has curly hair, I've had people, even coworkers, ask me how did you do my hair? How did you get your hair like that? Or, oh, you have a new look.
Mm,
What happened? Or like if it's curly and then I blow it out and it's super long down my back. Oh, Katanda, there's ways to ask the question,
hmm
but also to have the conversation. And it's not about what you say, it's always about how you say it. So I think we need to be more aware of that when we're speaking to someone and their hair, especially hair, where hair is, as much as some people try to say it's not, it's one of those coveted things. Like our hair, any Irie says, I am not my hair, but I beg to differ. Our hair is like everything to us. Our hair is like, you know, our best accessory.
mm.
Um, how many people start to lose their hair and they're like, oh, I'm okay with it because I am not my hair? No one, not men nor women, straight nor curly. No one wants to lose their hair unwanted. If you
Mhm,
want to get a haircut, a pixie cut, that's your choice and you can do it. But when you start to unwillingly, like involuntarily lose your
mm.
hair, it's a problem. So hair is one of those sensitive topics that we need to be more mindful of. We don't need to judge people based on their hair because you could end up triggering someone. Like I get triggered often when those things happen to me. Um, so yeah, I think this is a conversation that definitely could continue because I know people have. I want to hear other people's story. This could be like a
Yeah,
support group.
honestly.
I would love, yeah, I would love to hear other people's stories. I would love to share like my experiences. Like I have so many of them. I
Mm.
share with you once and I'll just say it really quickly and leave it there. But I had a guy tell me that I look better with straight hair.
Oh no. As in
Like
a guy
there's
you were
so much
dating?
with judgmental of hair, the judgment of hair.
Oh,
Yeah, he was like, you look better with straight hair. It's just like,
oh no.
and I was like, what?
Oh.
I I really wanted to go off on him. I did not. Thankfully, it was not someone that I was dating because I would have been definitely, I would have been, oh gosh, I don't even know how I would have felt if that was somebody that I was dating. I'm sure people may think these things, but again, we have to be mindful of what we're saying to people and how we're saying it. Instead of saying you look better with straight hair, he could have said, I like your hair when it's straight.
Mm.
And you're still giving me the message that you like my hair when it's straight, not that it makes me lesser than when it's not straight.
Yeah.
And that could go into so many other conversations. Why people go into the workplace with straight hair and not curly hair, because people actually think they might look better or more professional or more intelligent. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is something that I don't know, Jay. We might start a support group with this one.
Yeah, it feels like we probably will need one.
Yeah,
It feels like one of the big things is people just being kind and
yeah,
thoughtful And say again, when you're saying things from a place of curiosity and kindness,
Mm-hmm.
the message can always be delivered, and it
Yes.
can be received in a way that people are actually gonna share share with you,
Yeah.
versus you've hurt somebody because you've chosen not to be thoughtful and considerate,
Yeah.
or you've chosen to be judgmental. And again, these things are all a choice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have to also have the choice to say nothing. Like,
Exactly.
if I like your hair when it's straight, that's in some ways, I don't know if that's actually a compliment. Because if I say that when your hair is straight and I don't say it when your hair is curly, but your hair naturally grows out of your scalp curly, is that
Right.
really a compliment, actually? So maybe do I just keep that one to myself? Because
Yeah.
what I feel about your hair is not really your concern. How
Yeah.
you feel about your hair is your concern. You know,
Yeah.
I there's lots of different ways this one could go.
Yeah.
But like Katanda said, it would be amazing to hear some of your experiences in the comments and what you think and feel about this topic as well. Like I said, I think judgment is very unnecessary, and
Yeah.
we need to get to a point where people are asking questions out of curiosity. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, Katanda, I'm sure you have like a specific thought or feeling about this by the end of this conversation
I
now.
It's something that I don't know. I've never gone to my therapist on this topic because I feel like I'm over it, but then sometimes some things do still trigger me. But I
Mm.
just think for me, because I am an educator, it's just a teachable moment. However, I always have to, before I teach the moment, because I don't want the moment to come across in the wrong way. Like, I don't want to give back what I've been given with them saying certain things to me. So I
Mm.
just want to I try to make everything a teachable moment just because that's who I am. That's what I do. And also, I feel like people say those things a lot of times because of something that's going on with them in the inside. They
Yeah.
feel, maybe they don't feel good when their hair is curly and they feel better when it's straight. So they're projecting that
Mm.
onto other people. Or maybe the girl that left the comments in on the social media page, maybe she, I don't know, has had experiences. She could have a mix person in her family or a biracial person in her family, and maybe she feels that person got treated differently. There's
Yeah.
so many things, deep
Yeah.
rooted things, as to why we say things. Like, it's,
Mm.
first of all, it's based on opinion, and it is based on our own perception, and our perception is influenced by our own experiences through life. So
Yeah. Uh, I agree. And I think, yeah, the message is be kind on both sides.
be
When you're about
kind.
to say something, whether you're saying something and thinking about someone's hair, or whether you're responding to something that somebody
Yeah.
has said, uh, there's a time and a place. I think you can put somebody in their place and still
Yeah.
choose to try and be as kind as you can, but still be firm.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy, especially when somebody has actually been triggered.
Yeah.
Um, but I also think there's such huge benefit in also walking away sometimes, because there will be people who will say things. You know, we've had a couple of instances where people have said things and it's not been intentional. The intention
Hmm.
has not been to cause harm. They've
Hmm.
been careless with their words, but there are
Yeah.
people that do say things with the intention of doing
Intention.
harm.
Yeah.
You know, like that exists and that happens in abundance too.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important when you're on the receiving end of those situations to do what's going to give you peace.
Hmm.
And I think that there's a lot to say about walking away
Yeah.
when it feels like somebody is intentionally trying to cause
Yeah.
harm with their words.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always easy when you want to run your mouth back.
Yeah.
So, as tempting
And
as it might be, that's not necessarily the thing that's going to give you peace. But I think there's a lot to be said about walking away from those situations. And like you said, if it's not done intentionally, if somebody has just said something really carelessly, that's a teachable moment where you can be the person that shares some information with them and says, actually, if you say that to the wrong person, you might get a very different response to the one that I'm giving you now. You know, I'm being calm, I'm telling you what this is, but other people will just expect you to know better.
you better know who you're saying it to. because you may not, that person may not be, trying to respond with kindness.
No.
So I say the takeaway is, or the lesson here for me that I could share is just learn to love your hair so that when you are judged based on your hair, or you do have, someone that makes a comment to you that sort of like doesn't make you feel good, or you're able to kind of brush it off. Because if you love you and you love this, then it's really not going to affect you. So that's the thing. I just feel like people, and then sometimes people just don't have poof. They don't know how to say things, and they just say whatever's on the top of their head. They say it, and again, it's not necessarily from a malicious standpoint, but it does happen. However, I could go on, and we don't have that much time. You guys that are listening need to do something, and Jade has to do something, and I need to find food. But this is a topic that maybe after we get your experiences, and just your thoughts, shared with us, I'm sure it's going to spark some things in me, because I have one story that I did not tell, and maybe it'll fit for another topic that we'll be hopping on here with. But you guys, you will not believe this. So let's just keep it going.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of stories to tell, but
yeah,
I mean, like we said, it would be great to hear some of the community's problems that they've experienced when people have felt like they've been judged for their hair for whatever reason. Share in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And also, if there are any topics that you think is super interesting that we should talk about, also let us know in the comments too. Is there anything else I think that's it. But if you know somebody that could benefit from hearing this, if you're like, oh, I spoke to somebody about that, or they told me a story where they felt a way about something that happened, share it with them. Share the podcast with them, because I think, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if this will help somebody that's been through it or gone through it, I mean, I think we've all been through this at least once. So, share with people. Leave a comment. And thank you for listening for this whole hour, because it's been an hour now.
It's been an hour, and I could keep going. Thank you guys for listening, and for making this fun for us.
And we will see you or hear from you on the next episode.
Bye.